don't believe in coincidences anymore. I believe that everything in this world happens for a reason. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I believe that everything in this world happens for a reason. Whether it's a supernatural entity or just simply the laws of attraction gravitating towards the desired outcome, I believe there's a reason behind all the madness. I unfortunately got stuck with the shitty end of the stick, as I have to live with a regretful decision I made every day. Living with regret is one of the most disheartening things a human can ever experience, especially if the majority of your livelihood consumes it. As I share my story with the world, I struggle with it every day, while reflecting on the bed of my jail cell. I've since turned to reading the Bible more, as there's not much to do besides working out or reading a catalog of books. Thoughts of a time machine taking me back to my past and correcting my mistakes.
I used to occasionally deliver for DoorDash on the weekends. This happened about a year ago, and at the time DoorDash was new to my area. Not many people used it, but if you worked at the right times, you could still make well above minimum wage. It was a Friday night, and I got a request in the app to deliver to a house around 8 miles away. The house was on a deeply wooded back road, with absolutely no streetlights. Like, literally, if you turned your headlights off at this time of the night, you were completely blind. I delivered to a house in this area once before, but that was when it was light out, which, trust me, is a way different scene. I didn't have much for phone service, so it was difficult to find exactly where I needed to be. But after a while, I finally found the place. The house seemed pretty similar to a lot of the other houses in the area, secluded looking, and right on the edge of being able to comfortably call it abandoned. I pulled up to the house, and because of the limited visibility, I decided to keep my car's headlights on while I dropped off the food at the door. But to do this, I had to keep the keys in the ignition, and so I did. I figured it wouldn't be the end of the world if I left my car running for an extra 30 seconds. I took the bag of food to the front door. I knocked a few times, and waited about 20 seconds, when my phone went off. I was getting a call from a blocked caller ID. I decided to answer it in case it had anything to do with the food I was delivering. It was some man who sounded completely normal. He explained how he was the one who placed the DoorDash order, and he then asked me if I could just bring it to him around back. I was already sketched out as is, and so I told the guy no way. If he wanted his food, he needed to come to me in front. But after that, the line just went dead. I told myself I'd wait at the front door for 1 more minute, and if this guy didn't show up, I was just gonna leave. Maybe 30 seconds passed, and the guy did show up. The front door opened, and I looked at the dude. He was wearing a black ski mask, and was just standing there looking at me. I held out the food, but he made no reaction. That's when the guy yelled out,
"Alright, now!"
Right as he said this, 3 men, also wearing ski masks, came sprinting out from around the back of the house toward me.
A small black coaster.
11 library buds.
10 llamas. 9 chewing gums.
8 ornaments.
7 candy canes.
6 mouse patrols.
I'm gonna make my Christmas list. I'm gonna make my Christmas list. Here's a puzzle, don't hurt your wrist. You think Santa's ever been kissed?
Yes, and he can do the twist.
Have you been naughty or nice? Remember last night you didn't finish your rice? Oh, Mommy, you don't need to ask me twice. Time's a poop boy and living now. I'm gonna make my Christmas list. Here's a puzzle, don't hurt your wrist. Think Santa's ever been kissed?
Yes, and he can do the twist.
Have you been naughty or nice? Remember last night you didn't finish your rice? Oh, Mommy, you don't need it. I'm gonna make my Christmas list. Here's a puzzle, don't.
Wait, just for us. People think I sold it. As soon as they don't eat, then go and exercise and run. But no. You will hurt your body. You will damage your inside. The food must settle first, Jadder.
Guys, I would never suggest you do this. Look at this cute little smiley face this llama has. I think it's a llama. Never do this. But if you guys didn't know, if you click on it, look at the little face it makes. If you buy something from it, hey, it's super happy. Oh, it's a little bit shocked when you leave. But what happens when you pickaxe it? It gets that little face right there. Pickaxe it a little bit more and it gets furious. One more pickaxe, and then it starts to cry.
Guys, don't do this. Don't do this. It's just mean.
Alright guys, thankfully I got grenades right off spawn, so what I'm going to be doing today, guys, I am going to be building up here, and I am going to jump inside of this water tower right here, and we are just going to hide. It's not the best hiding spot, but if I don't make much noise, maybe someone comes over here, they chop it down, they don't see me, but right when they chop it down, if they do, I'm going to chuck this grenade in here, and hopefully it kills them. God, this is the worst hiding spot ever. Epic. Why can't I just get in here? There's a chance people don't see you because it's such a peculiar spot to be in.
You know what song cream on your back?
Alright, so time.
Welcome to Leo Vegas Online Casino. Looking for some excitement? Play Leo Vegas Bingo. Our uniquely...
Current oil can and the olive oil it will stop.
Oh!
Oh!
No. You didn't get the bucket off. You didn't get it off. You didn't get it off. That's not it.
FBM, привет, вот вам 200. Опа. Yo, what the?
Okay.
Got it! Yes! Oh my gosh! I couldn't even process that! It was so crazy, bro! Did we actually kill him? Yes, we did, yeah, 100%.
Я водичку.
Där vi sköt var jag med grunden från busken. Snipe! Genom busken! Snipe genom busken! What the... Busken! Snipe genom busken! What the... Med grunden från busken. Snipe! Genom busken! Snipe genom busken! What the... Snipe! Genom busken! Snipe genom busken! What the... Busken. Snipe! Genom busken! Snipe genom busken! What the... Snipe! Genom busken! Trisha släpper igenom busken! What the... Trisha släpper igenom busken! What the... Busken. Trisha släpper igenom busken! Trisha släpper igenom busken! What the...
Because a song poorly written.
Guys, how do I get out of the boat? Because there's people right behind me!
Oh god, hold Stackle. Oh god. Oh, it's not Stackle, sorry.
Nicole, did you just try to stop a lot because
Shit.
Yeah. So but you guys just fling around, talking, get in there, you go in there on your phone, you go and buy lunch, people still here waiting. Come on guys, who is you guys boss? And why boss? No, I'm not been seeing me. Let me go say. You know, because I don't like to wait for long there, you know what I mean? And chat them again. You know, like, oh my God! Have patience, I mean, that is like beyond your patient.
Who wrapped up that present?
No, so! If you never thought they'd not go speed up, you know?
Trying a different team.
The African one come there. I don't know if the other one they are ready. Guys just come in on. You know? I was there before here. And we just don't want you guys something that we give you guys $20 bill.
O cara me abraça comigo. Arriba. Vai comigo. Lugar estranho, mano.
Malu, para adelante.
En la zona.
En la nave.
7 heroes caught on camera. In this video, we take a look at 7 humble heroes who were caught on camera. Included are a brave bus.
You qualify for the job, you can't get it. Somebody else who not qualify, they are getting it. Because what? The person know that person who walk in inside the office.
This also means that some camera store on July 1st, 2016. The incident occurred in California at around 2:30 p.m., where a woman and her 4-year-old boy. If I can, you see, you have to buy food every week, eh? You have to buy the meat, it's not okay. Yeah, I just go buy the food. You can't eat now, you see? You see, I eat now. Year-old daughter can be seen entering the store. The young mother was waiting in line and had her baby in her arms, while her daughter was playing with a candy machine close to the front door. After standing around for a few moments, a man can be seen grabbing the 4-year-old girl by the arm and attempting to abduct her in broad daylight. The young mother and another customer immediately ran outside, and thankfully the little girl was able to break free. The woman explained to the store owner that she saw the man in the parking lot, and he was staring at her and her daughter as they walked into the store, but she didn't think he would try anything. The would-be kidnapper attempted to escape from the scene, but was quickly tackled to the ground by members of the public and was held until police arrived. The young girl and her mother are understandably shaken up by the incident, but thankfully the 4-year-old did not suffer any physical injuries. Next up is footage that has been trending on the internet for a while now. In the video, which has been speculated to have been filmed in India, a child with black hair is seen getting out of a window on a high tower block and walking along the edge of the window ledge. The child appears to be happy while on the ledge, and even bounces up and down. He or she goes back inside and then repeats it all over again. At one point, it looks as if the toddler is about to fall off the edge due to how close he or she gets, but somehow the child remains on the ledge. Eventually, a pair of arms can be seen grabbing the child and pulling him or her back inside the apartment. Thankfully, the kid was unharmed. However, this could have easily been a different story. Hopefully, the parents will keep a closer eye on their child in the future.
The Indian people can't even do that though. Like, seriously. That baby almost fell down there. Yeah, it scared the crap out of me.
This tragic dashcam video shows TransAsia Airways Flight 235's final moments before clipping a taxi and a bridge and then crashing into a river in Taipei, Taiwan in February of 2015. 43 people were killed, including the plane's entire cockpit crew. Only 15 people survived the crash. Moments after the plane took off, the captain can be heard saying that he pulled the wrong side throttle. He mistakenly throttled down a still-running engine following a glitch with the other engine. It was reported by the Aviation Safety Council in Taiwan that the pilot in charge failed his initial simulator training in 2014. The final report in 2016 listed pilot error as the cause of the crash. In late July 2016, CCTV caught the shocking moments a woman was attacked by a tiger at the Badaling Wildlife World in China. The safari park, which has 10,000 wild animals, allows visitors to drive through the tiger enclosure by themselves or as part of a tour, but does not permit anyone to leave their vehicle. The young woman seen in the footage did not listen to these warnings and stepped outside of the car and walked over to the driver's side. It is believed that this was due to a family argument. Moments after the male opened his door, the female was attacked by a Siberian tiger from behind before being dragged away. The male driver and a middle-aged woman, who was believed to be the young girl's mother, immediately got out of the car and ran over to the girl in hopes of saving her life. Unfortunately, just off camera, another tiger viciously attacked and mauled the mother, and this led to her death. The park's rescue staff managed to save the young woman's life, and she was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Not much is known about what condition the young woman is in now. This incident isn't the first time something like this has happened at the park. In 2009, a foolish man decided to climb the 10-foot fence into an enclosure and was killed by a Siberian tiger. And in 2014, a park ranger was mauled to death by a Bengal tiger when he stepped out of his Jeep in order to relieve himself.
Damn.
This upsetting and shocking video shows the final moments leading up to the death of two young men in Rutherfield, East Sussex.
My name is Top Extract. Well, and in light of the Halloween season, I thought I'd bring you a little. And let's get into this one. So this is going to contain some.
Unlock your savings potential with a special savings offer and up to $350.
My def-
Your pickup truck. So, when a guy from Queensland, Australia decided to do just that, he had all the necessary equipment. Like any good citizen, he tied his chain to the rear of his stolen truck and made his merry way to innocently rob the ATM of a gas. He turned up at the store, smashed his way through the glass door with the help of his trusty hammer, and made his way inside. He tied his chain to the ATM, and then it was simply time to count his earnings. What the man didn't realize was that his chain had come unhooked, and his vehicle wasn't connected to the machine. As a result, he drove away without any earnings.
And messed up. What idiot.
A few minutes later, he logically returned to the scene of the crime in a bold attempt to try again. It was then that he realized his chain was too short, so he left the scene without a cent, cashless, brainless, and profitless. After completing a successful bank robbery, it's of course imperative to brag about your success on YouTube. When 19-year-old Nebraskan Hannah Sabata stole a car, held up a bank at gunpoint, and made her get away with $6,000, she decided to advertise her feat in a bizarre online video. But it wasn't enough to be pragmatic about it. So, inspired by the creative hijinks of songsmith Bob Dylan, she did so work. Video also sees her fanning herself with a wad of cash, pretending to smoke a cigar, and holding up the keys to the stolen vehicle. In the footage, she describes the robbery as the best day of her life.
Caught. But yeah, very, very much.
Strangely, despite her dedication to remaining clandestine, the police somehow managed to discover the perpetrator of the crime, and she was swiftly arrested and charged. Hannah Sabata will spend between 10 and 20 years behind bars. Gloves? Check. Bandanas? Check. Gun? Oh yeah. Foolproof plan? Nope. But 3 out of 4 in a little while, it was time for the plan to be put into place. Our thief in the making took some initiative, grabbed his favorite handset, and made a dash for the door. But as we all know, cell phones are attached to their display tables by retractable cords. So after a few steps, the phone flies out of his hand and lands on the floor. Judging by the CCTV footage, the man was too embarrassed to make a quick getaway. When the bemused store assistant enters the frame, the crappy crook looks bashful and ashamed. He then casually wanders out of the store. Back to the Nokia 3210 for this guy. At least it has Snake. Some people steal money, some people steal cars, some people steal diamonds, and some people steal sausages. In 2014, CCTV caught Ricardo Cardona as he spent 20 minutes trying to break through the front door of his favorite local meat store, clearly in a desperate frenzy to appease his drunken munchies. After making his way inside, he entered the meat cooler where he grabbed just a few scrumptious sausages. Now, we've all been drunk, and we all know that when the booze takes over, we want 2 things, food and sleep. And Ricardo was no different. After firstly making his way to the exit, he re-entered the building and decided to get comfortable in the office for a little nap. He was then awoken by employees who arrived the next morning ready to start work. They found him with his feet kicked up on the desk, very much at home, and probably dreaming of a big sausage smorgasbord. He was later charged with criminal trespassing. It is unknown whether Ricardo was allowed to keep the sausages and which type his drunken mind opted for. It's important to look good. We can't all go around wearing the same clothes every day. Pregnant Danielle Saxton felt this compulsion a little bit too much, so instead of waiting for her next paycheck, she made the ditzy decision to simply steal some new garments and jewelry from her local boutique. When the 27-year-old arrived home with her loot, it was photo time. She and her pals took a few snaps of a little modeling session in which she posed wearing the very best of her bargains. She swiftly posted the images on Facebook, and like any self-respecting member of today's social media society, she added one as her profile picture. When the clothes store appealed online to find the thief, keen-eyed locals contacted the store to report Danielle's brand new wardrobe. Most stupidly of all, one of the stolen pieces was a unique and distinctive fluorescent leopard print dress, so it didn't take long to confirm that she was indeed the light-fingered thief. Danielle was arrested and charged. Cabs are useful for two things: a quick ride to another place, and a handy hold-up to earn some extra cash. One charmless man decided to climb into the back of a cab, gun in hand, and demanded that the driver hand over all his money. Unfortunately for the gunman, the cab driver had just started his day at work and was in possession of a measly $11. Not quite the jackpot scoop he was probably expecting. It'll buy you a coffee or two, but it's not quite enough to retire to the Bahamas like a gang lord kingpin. During the robbery, CCTV footage overhears the gunman tell the driver to hand the cash over if you don't want to die. A few seconds later, he then tells him, "I'm not gonna hurt you." Talk about mixed messages. The crook's luck soon goes from bad to worse. As it turns out, the vehicle behind the cab is a cop car. The cop casually walks up to the cab and nonchalantly arrests the criminal.
Yeah.
18-year-old Victor Martinez Herrera faces up to 10. And tell the driver to hand the cash over. Eighteen-year-old Victor Martinez Herrera faces up to 10 years in prison. When looking for a low-cost alternative to an expensive disguise, there are a few options: stockings, balaclavas, a newly grown beard, the list goes on. But two dopey robbers in Iowa, after deciding to get drunk and rob a house, had a different plan. In order to disguise themselves, they daubed their faces with permanent marker. Yep, permanent marker. Yep, permanent marker. Matthew McNally and Joey Miller scribbled a bunch of lines and squiggles their victim because one of the men at gunpoint and discovered them in the vehicle with the bizarre and unusual drawings on their faces, and later joked about them having the worst disguise ever. The pair were charged with second-degree burglary. To smash a car window, you need something hard, something durable, something sturdy. One Irish criminal and drug addict decided he fancied helping himself to a brand spanking new Mercedes, and step one in his well-crafted plan was to find an object and chuck it through the window of the car. So he did all the right things. He found a car, he put up his hood, and he found a brick, the perfect tool for smashing in a window. CCTV footage then shows him approaching the car and getting ready to unleash the fury. He throws the brick, his mind awash with images of wealth, happiness, and success. In just a few seconds, he'll be cruising along in his new steed, picking up chicks, making men jealous, leaving a trail of smoke in his wake. Unluckily for him, things don't go as anticipated. The brick rebounds off the car window, hits him in the head, and knocks him out cold. The footage shows him dropping to the ground and remaining there until discovered by the landlord of a nearby pub, who initially suspected him to be the unfortunate victim of a hit-and-run attack. At first, the criminal claimed that he was beaten up and left for dead, but when the landlord noticed dents in the bodywork of what turned out to be his car, it didn't take a genius for the truth to unfold. Maybe next time, he'll try using a sponge. When you're committing a crime, there's one golden rule: don't show your face. At Criminal College, that's the first lesson. It's top of the list. It's the family home of a journalist and his son.
Introducing Galaxy Buds Pro. Putting these in is like putting a sound studio in your ear. We fit an 11mm tweeter in each. It feels like you're sitting here. Lucky you're...
Of one of the uniformed men. Keen to get his details, she contacted the line in order to tell the dispatcher how handsome he was, before inventing excuses to get the policeman to return to her home.
911, do you need firemen for police? No, ma'am, I don't. I don't have an emergency. Two police officers just left my house just now on Earth. Can I get the names, please? Sorry, I know it's not an emergency, but heck, doesn't come very often a good-looking man comes at your doorstep. Could you throw back my way? Do you need them to come back there? Oh, I'd like that, yeah. Why do you need them to come back there? Because I have an emergency. I'll think of something. Thank you. Would you throw them back? I think the partners. Throw them back my way, would you? Okay, and what is the reason? My dog. Just blame it on my dog. Hold on just a moment. Thank you. Yay. He's a cutie boy. And what... Okay, and ma'am, what do you need the officer to do? So, honey, I'm just going to be honest with you, okay? I just thought he was cute. I'm 45 years old, and I'd like to meet him again. But I don't know how to go about doing that without calling 911. I know this is not absolutely in a way, shape, or form an emergency. But if you would give the officers my phone number and ask him to come back, would you mind? I'll give him a message to call you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
The very same deputy then returned to her home to arrest her. Dudash was charged with misuse of the 911 emergency call number. Her punishment has not since been confirmed, but the charge carries a term of up to 1 year in jail. In 2013, Indiana man Gregory Jackson Sr., desperate for a tasty snack to alleviate his Friday night hunger, stupidly called 911 to order some food. The 52-year-old man appears really eager for a yummy intervention, calling 9 times within 90 minutes to try to get his hands on a delicious snack.
911 emergency? Okay, do you have emergency, sir? Because you dialed 911.
I dialed 911.
Yeah, you dialed 911. I am not understanding a word you're saying, sir.
I'm sorry, my dentures, I don't have any dentures.
Okay, what did you need? Okay, so why did you call 911 for then? What did you need? You have emergency?
A cheeseburger.
Have a good day. 911 emergency?
Yes. I just hung up on me.
Well, I asked if you had emergency. You said no, you needed a cheeseburger, so we don't take cheeseburger orders. If you give me some information, maybe we can try to help you out.
A little after the call, police realized that Jackson was already known to the authorities for a number of misdemeanors, including not turning up for a court appearance and many alcohol-related incidents. He was then arrested on an outstanding warrant and never got the cheeseburger. During late 2010, an English woman realized that something very important was missing from outside her home. Her first port of call was, of course, to get in contact with the emergency services, certain that it's a matter suitable for the police.
Emergency. Hello, I'm in police, please. Okay, what's happening? Well, what happened was there's been a theft from outside my house. Okay, when did this occur? Well, I'm not sure exactly because I ain't been out to check on him for about 5 hours. I went out about 5 minutes ago to have a fag. And he's gone, so it could be in the last 5 hours, but I know that CCTV uploaded. Who's gone, sorry? My snowman. Right, your snowman's been stolen? Yeah. Right, okay, in the last 5 hours? Well, 4 to 5 hours, I can't be sure exactly. What do you mean? What, a snowman actually made out of snow or an ornament? No, he's made out of snow, I made it myself. Right, okay. He had 2 of my teaspoons in his arms and money on his face, so I'm not being funny. I know it's only a snowman, but I thought it'd be fine. What was it being icy in that? People
Inform her that her call was, surprisingly, not an appropriate use of police time or resources. There was no other punishment. Thoroughly acknowledging that her call is no emergency, an elderly lady called 911 to request an officer to come to her home for a pretty routine reason. Unable to do the task herself, she calls on the only help she can think of.
This isn't really an emergency, but it is sort of one to this little old lady. I've been terribly upset, and I thought the only thing I could do, I don't think of sleep pills and all of that. I went out and bought myself a couple of small bottles of beer. I thought that would relax me. What's the problem? The problem is I can't open the bottle. Could you send a man over, and I'll be downstairs and have him open the bottle?
Okay, now wait a minute. Am I correct that you can't sleep, so you went out and bought 2 bottles of beer and you want a policeman to come by and open them for you?
Yes, please, because I don't have any equipment here that seems to handle that kind of a pop. And I have never gone in. I think I had a ketchup bottle once, and a neighbor broke the top off.
Oh, well, listen, I'm going to get you someone out there to open those beer bottles. Well, you just stay in your apartment now, and I'll send them up to the apartment with the steps, okay? I'll just get it.
I'm cold sober, and
I know you are.
Yeah, and I don't have any bad intent or anything. I just want to be able to go to sleep.
I know. Well, we'll get you out there to open that beer bottle.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shall I hang up?
Yes. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The consequences for the woman are unknown, but here's hoping she finally got the much-needed rest she was seeking. In February 2011, dim-witted Connecticut resident Robert Michelson, after beginning to home-grow some marijuana, thought it sensible to call the cops for some honest advice, not counting on the fact that the call in itself might lead investigators to discover his botanic bounty.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
Let's not get into that yet. I have a question.
Is this an emergency, sir?
Depends.
Well,
not really.
If it's not an emergency, you don't call 911, sir.
Well, I have a legal question.
Well, it's not. Is this an emergency?
I don't know what that means.
Is it life-threatening or an active crime in progress?
Crime in progress, possibly.
What's going on?
I was just growing some marijuana. I was just wondering how much, trouble you can get into for one plant.
You're growing marijuana and you want to know how much depends on how big the plant is.
It's only a seedling.
No, possession.
Okay.
You can get pinched for a roach in a car.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the info.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Do you want to hear my call?
The call was traced to his home, where officers soon turned up. They found drug paraphernalia and a small amount of the marijuana. He was charged, then released on $5,000 bail. Who needs cops when you have such honest criminals? When a daft woman was unable to remember her laptop password, she thought it fully appropriate to call 999 in order to get the problem sorted.
Please emergency.
I'm calling because my laptop is closed. I need an Interpol department number.
You called up the police to get a password for your laptop?
Yes, please.
Right, but you do not phone up the police to ask that. We don't deal with laptops and passwords.
Oh no, I didn't use it because I don't know that thing they're talking about. I was using a Facebook.
Right, we are the emergency services. We deal with life and death incidents. We don't deal with passwords on laptops. It's nothing to do with the police.
Do you have a number or account?
No, I don't have a number either. It's emergency life or death line here. We don't deal with laptops, we don't deal with passwords, and we don't have numbers to give out to you.
Okay.
Nothing to do with the police, I'm sorry.
Alright, thank you.
What happened to the woman since is unknown, so whether or not she ever recovered the password remains an enigmatic mystery. What happened to the woman since is unknown, so whether or not she ever recovered the password remains an enigmatic mystery. In 2006, Edward Sanchez, a 29-year-old Michigan police officer,
barely breathing. Alrighty. Bye.
Although he admitted to using the drug, he went on to avoid any criminal charges. He resigned from his position in the force during an internal investigation, perhaps to pursue a career in a bakery.
My goodness, dear. What's going on in here?
In late 2011, a British man called 999 when he was alarmed to spot a mysterious...
With the Remitly app, you can send money worldwide to places you know and trust.
Good things come to those who make the first move.
Alarmed to spot a mysterious flying object in the sky. Throughout the call, he seems pretty confused that he doesn't know what the hell it is.
Caller, you're through to the police. What's your emergency, please?
I got a message that says that there's something flying over our house. When it's coming towards me now, it's almost like blazing. I don't know what the hell it is.
Right, okay, so what, it's got lights blazing, did you say?
I see pretty bright lights floating in the sky. It's coming towards me. I'm in Canterbury, I don't know what the hell it is on the airplane, but it's hovering. I don't know what it is.
Okay, just bear with me 1 second. Can you hear any sort of engine noise from it or anything like that?
No, it's too far away at the moment. I thought it was, the flight path coming. I thought it was an airplane first. And now it's just hovering with all these lights on. I don't know what the hell it is.
So so it's hovering quite far away now from your house?
I would imagine somewhere over Walker and somewhere heading this way. I saw somebody that's... Sorry, I'm very sorry.
Okay, thanks. Goodbye.
Bye.
In March of 2015, 39-year-old Robert Collins mistakenly called 911 to report that his pesky wife had stolen something very valuable from him. Clearly outraged by the act, he seems pretty keen to discuss his dilemma.
Alliance Police and Fire, where's your emergency? What's going on?
I don't know, me and my lady's having a misunderstanding about something I bought. I bought some cocaine earlier, and she wanted to take my cocaine, and then she wanted to treat me like I don't give a want to treat me like you. I'll give a I give a you want to come treat me like you. I'll take you. Yeah, because you pay my and you put it on me, and then you take the clothes off of me. Hello? That's cool.
Sir, can you hear me?
That's cool.
Sir. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your name, sir?
Well, call us blind, yes.
This is the police department. You called 911.
No.
Yeah, you did, sir. Yeah. What's your wife's name?
It don't matter, I guess, man.
Sir?
When police arrived at his home, he refused to tell them why he dialed the cops for his sticky situation. He was then charged with 2 misdemeanor counts, one for possession of a marijuana pipe and another for misuse of the 911 number. In 2013, Oklahoma fool Peyton Brewer accidentally butt-dialed 911 while in the midst of robbing a home. He and his accomplice were stealing money, jewelry, and a gun from the home of a family who were attending a funeral. The ongoing conversation overheard by the dispatcher revealed details of the crime, including the thoughts and plans of the dull-headed duo.
911, what's your emergency? Hello?
Go back.
The environment affects us all, so Eco Canada is accepting applications for their digital skills for youth.
The word creepy can be used to describe many things that make our skin crawl. From having an unexplained paranormal experience to brushing shoulders with a dangerous criminal, there are countless creepy moments that could shock and scare even the bravest people. And sometimes these disturbing moments are captured on video for all to see. Today, we'll be looking at 7 of the creepiest moments ever caught on camera. In June 2016, a simple trip to the playground became an unforgettable day for one family. When Scotty Denton took his 3 children to play at a park in Warwick, Rhode Island, he never imagined seeing something that would keep them all in the car, afraid to approach the empty playground. Eager to document what was happening, Scotty began filming himself and explained the situation.
All right, we're at the playground, and the kids don't want to go anymore because look at this. This is real. Look at this. There's no wind out here right now.
No one on it either.
Look, there's nobody on it.
Just moving.
There's no wind. Look at the other swings, and look at this.
When Scotty turns the camera toward the playground swing set, it's clear why the kids are hesitant. Despite the relatively calm air that day, one of the swings moves erratically back and forth, seemingly being influenced by some unseen force. Scotty reports that the wind isn't strong enough to move the swing so violently, and the other swings on the set, which are barely moving in the breeze, appear to back him up. Scotty's kids are too scared to get out of the car. They're convinced something paranormal is responsible for the swing's strange movement. Could something be out there on the playground?
There's nobody out there.
Ghosts aren't real. Wouldn't the other swing be moving?
There ain't nobody here, dude. This ain't a joke.
Nobody.
While YouTube skeptics were quick to dismiss the video and blame a strong wind or simply a staged event, others weren't so sure. A Facebook comment from a Warwick local claims to have seen the swing going crazy before and that the park is haunted. Ghost or not, when children are reluctant to have a playground all to themselves, something strange is definitely going on. Have you ever suspected a stranger in the street meant you harm? On May 5th, 2017, a 33-year-old woman in London crossed paths with sudden, unbelievable violence as she crossed the Putney Bridge in London. Her terrifying encounter was captured on CCTV. As she crosses the bridge, busy with both pedestrians and vehicles, the woman passes a jogger who appears to shove her into traffic and directly into the path of an oncoming bus. Miraculously, the bus driver is able to swerve out of the way to avoid hitting and possibly killing the woman. The bus stopped and passengers poured out to help the woman, who had escaped the ordeal with only minor injuries. The jogger had gotten away, but in a shocking twist, he ran back across the bridge in the other direction about 15 minutes after his vicious shove. The woman attempted to speak to him, but he reportedly ignored her and ran away from the scene yet again. The jogger was a white male, estimated to be in his 30s, with brown eyes and short brown hair. There was no apparent explanation as to why he had suddenly pushed a woman into such incredible danger. After an exhaustive investigation, with photos circulating of the unidentified man, the London Metropolitan Police closed the case. They had investigated more than 50 suspects and even arrested 3 men, but had not found the mystery jogger. No one was ever charged with this sudden and extreme act of violence, made all the more frightening by its complete lack of explanation. Sometimes the line between fun and fear is paper thin. The 2 young girls in this viral video learned that lesson the hard way. On October 30th, 2012, YouTube used It's causing her distress, but she's obviously...
Look at me.
adult tries to comfort the two girls, they are certain they've come face to face with something terrifying. This mysterious video gained attention for the intensity of the girls' reactions, as well as the fact that what scared the girls is never shown. Was it just a trick of light or wind? Or could an apparition have appeared to them? Perhaps it's true what they say, that children can see things adults can't.
Turn around, look at me. What's the matter?
Home surveillance is meant to make us feel safe, but sometimes security cameras capture truly frightening footage that puts us even more on edge. Kathleen Frascarelli of Bristol, Connecticut used a Ring doorbell security system for peace of mind, but in May 2019, the cameras showed her something outside her front door that terrified her. At 8:45 p.m., an individual emerges from the darkness and tries to open Kathleen's front door. They carry a bag of some kind strapped across their shoulders and have a heavy-looking object in the pocket of their hoodie. But in a skin-crawling twist, the person is wearing a plastic mask with a permanent smile plastered on their face. They even look directly into the camera, seemingly unafraid of being recorded. After knocking and standing at the door for 15 seconds, the person walks away from Kathleen's house, but not before wiping their fingerprints off of the doorknob. It's unclear whether the masked stranger expected Kathleen to be at home, but she was, and she bravely went downstairs to her door. By the time she got there, the stranger was in a car parked across the street from her home. She yelled from an open window, "Can I help you?" Then repeated her question a second time, but the stranger sped off before she could do anything else. Kathleen was sure the visitor came to her home with bad intentions, since they had taken the extra step to remove identifying fingerprints from the door. The incident inspired other neighbors to lock their doors and get security cameras of their own. Bristol police looked into the frightening incident. Fortunately, FAM had used diesel gas, which is less flammable than petrol. When his attempt to set the fire doesn't work, FAM appears to give up and walk away from the gasoline-soaked front door and porch. Had he used petrol, he could easily have killed himself and those asleep inside the home, which included a 3-year-old and 10-year-old child. FAM was arrested after being identified on the security footage and charged with attempted homicide and arson. The creepiest part of FAM's inexplicable behavior was the reasoning he gave for it. He told police he had seen a ghost in his neighbor's home and was trying to kill it in his attempt to burn the house down. Additionally, he had been recorded on the same security camera prior to this incident, pacing around the front of the home and repeatedly ringing the doorbell. The incredibly lucky family survived a horrifying attempt on their lives, but this footage serves as a shocking reminder of what a dangerously disturbed neighbor had in mind for them. Predators can lurk anywhere, even in a crowd of witnesses. One young woman came face to face with one such predator on a Bronx subway car in December 2019. A fellow passenger's cell phone captured the moment that took everyone by surprise that night. Just before 3 a.m., a man dressed in red winter gear tries to get the attention of a young woman sleeping across from him on the train. After speaking to her a few times, he waits until the train doors open and suddenly grabs her, carrying her off the train in an attempted abduction. The woman is shocked, as are her fellow passengers, and she quickly frees herself from the man and gets back on the train. A young man traveling with her barely has time to react to the sudden grab, and the would-be abductor manages to walk away from the scene as the train pulls away from the station. Fortunately, the man later identified as 48-year-old Sonny Alloway did not evade justice for long. Just hours after the video was taken and posted on social media, he was found in the street by a group of vigilantes.
I know. No, I'm not. You will. I tried to follow the purpose. Stop lying. I ain't Alright, so let me go. That's not call the cops, mommy. Call the cops.
After this incident, Alloway was arrested and charged with unlawful imprisonment, though Bronx district attorneys deferred prosecution to build a case. Alloway has claimed the video was a misunderstanding and that he was only trying to rescue the woman from an apparent abusive situation. Whether or not there's any truth to this explanation, the footage is truly disturbing. It takes a truly wicked person to harm some of the most vulnerable people in our society. In February 2017, police in Las Vegas set an unusual trap to catch a deranged criminal. 46-year-old Daniel Aldape and 60-year-old David Dunn, two homeless men from Las Vegas, were found murdered in their sleep. The causes of death were determined to be blunt force trauma to the head, and the murder weapon in both cases was a hammer. Law enforcement tried to draw the perpetrator to strike a third time by placing a decoy dummy in the area. They are guilty to attempted murder in court, but because Schindler pleaded guilty to attempted murder in court, but because there was no physical evidence linking him to the two bludgeoning deaths or another nighttime attack that injured a third man, he was technically charged with the attack of the mannequin. He admitted that he believed the dummy was a real person when he struck the head with the hammer. Police did not know his motivation for the killings, nor did they have much background information on Schindler. Despite the unusual circumstances of the plea, a judge sentenced Schindler to 8 to 20 years in prison for his unthinkable violence. Which one of these stories did you find the creepiest? Have you ever captured anything creepy?
Later fell in a different place. The case, however, has many suspicious and alarming details. Firstly, only a relatively small amount of the girl's bones and clothes have ever been found. The bone fragments show no evidence of a fall or contact with animals, and their remains are far too decomposed to account for natural decomposition in such relatively cool weather. Some of the bones are also believed to have been bleached. Perhaps most strangely, there was a photograph deleted from the girl's camera. This photograph is non-recoverable, which implies that it may have been deleted using a computer. The contents of this photograph remain unknown. A number of photos have also not been released to the public. Although the authorities maintain that the girls died in a simple hiking accident, other investigators aren't so sure. In the last 8 years, around 25 unsolved killings and disappearances have occurred in the same region. Most of them happened after the girls went missing. JonBenet Ramsey was a 6-year-old beauty pageant queen who was found dead in the basement of her parents' home in 1996. She died in the early hours of December 26th. JonBenet Ramsey was a 6-year-old beauty pageant queen who was found dead in the basement of her parents' home in 1996. She died in the early hours of December 26th. A garrote, which had been used to strangle her, was tied around her neck. She had most likely been sexually assaulted, and she had suffered a fractured skull from a heavy blow to the head. Duct tape covered her mouth. Nylon cord was found around her wrists, and her body was covered in a white blanket. Her body was discovered only a few hours after Ramsey's mother, who was herself a former beauty queen, called authorities to report that she had found a 3-page ransom note in the family home. This ransom note demanded $118,000 from the family for their daughter's safe return. It contains many spelling errors, many strange phrases, and lots of unusual demands. The note was written on paper belonging to the family and was signed with the initials SBTC. When Ramsey's father found her body, he immediately moved it upstairs, irrevocably altering the crime scene. Strangely, Ramsey's mother claims that the clothes worn by the body of her daughter were not the same clothes which she was wearing for bed the previous night. The parents were initially considered as the main suspects in the case, along with Ramsey's 9-year-old brother, Burke, as there was no real evidence of a break-in at the family home. All 3 have since been officially exonerated. Investigators now believe that an intruder did indeed commit the crime. There had been many burglaries and sexual assaults in the nearby region at the time. In 2000, a local man named Gary Oliver was arrested on drug charges and was found carrying a photograph of JonBenet in his backpack. He explained that the reason he had the photo was because he was deeply touched by the case. A friend of Oliver's claimed that he had received a phone call a day after the murder, where Oliver said, quote, "I hurt a little girl. I hurt a little girl." However, Oliver's DNA did not match the DNA found at the crime scene. John Mark Carr, a former elementary school teacher, was arrested in Bangkok and confessed to the crime, but his DNA also did not match anything found at the crime scene. His confession is considered to be false. During the autopsy, pineapple was found in the stomach of Ramsey's body, but her parents cannot remember feeding pineapple to their daughter. The significance of this strange anomaly remains unknown. After all these years, the bizarre case still remains unsolved. Some still adamantly believe that the break-in claim is a lie, and there was instead a cover-up by the Ramsey parents and brother. Another wacky theory states that JonBenet Ramsey never died, and she is still in fact living as a world-famous pop singer under the name of Katy Perry, but we're not so sure. 45-year-old fitness instructor Terry Missy. Another wacky theory states that JonBenet Ramsey never died, and she is still in fact living as a world-famous pop singer under the name of Katy Perry, but we're not so sure. 45-year-old fitness instructor Terry Missy Beavers was found murdered in a Texas church on April 18, 2016. She was at the church to prepare and lead one of her regular exercise classes. Her body, which was discovered by one of her students just before 5 a.m., had a number of brutal puncture wounds to the head and chest. Several deleted using a computer. The contents of this photograph remain identified person walking through the church just moments before the murder. Strangely and somewhat disturbingly, this person was wearing SWAT gear. In the footage, they can be seen casually vandalizing the church with a hammer. The person's walk has led some to believe that the mysterious figure is a female, though this, of course, cannot be confirmed. Investigators have established that the injuries on Beaver's body were most likely inflicted with a hammer. In the period leading up to the murder, Missy had been suffering from financial problems and marital issues, though her husband denies any role in the murder. She had also allegedly received a creepy and strange message on social networking site LinkedIn from an unknown male. During the investigation, Beaver's father-in-law was questioned by police after taking a woman's bloodied shirt to a dry cleaner. He claims that these stains were the result of a fight between his dog and another, which was confirmed by a local veterinarian. In this video, footage of Beaver's father-in-law and the person in the CCTV footage have been placed side by side. Many people believe that the two walks look very similar, with some stating they look identical. What do you think?
Juice by myself.
Oh, you don't open it. Close it a little bit.
Investigators have not yet identified the figure shown in the CCTV images. They are working based on the official assumption that Beavers walked in on a robbery in progress, which unfortunately led to her death. However, this is just a theory, and the case remains unsolved. At 1 p.m. on February 13, 2017, 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German were dropped off by a family member at an old bridge in Delphi, Indiana, to go on a short hike. They were given instructions to return to the bridge at 5:30 p.m. When they did not return, they were reported missing. The following day, their dead bodies were discovered on the trail. They were located only around 1 kilometer from where they had originally been dropped off. Just after 2 p.m. on the day of their disappearance, German eerily uploaded 2 pictures to Snapchat. One of these simply showed Williams hiking happily along the bridge. The other picture ominously showed a man following the 2 girls on their hike. It is believed that this man is the killer of the girls, and that German took this picture in order to help police discover him in case of their deaths. A disturbing audio file was also found on German's cell phone, in which the alleged killer can be heard calmly and quietly saying the 3 words, "Down the hill."
Downhill. 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 Downhill.
The exact significance of this phrase is unknown. Authorities have confirmed that this footage is longer in its entirety, but contains disturbing content which is not suitable for public release. Up to now, police have received around 20,000 tips from the public, but have been unable to find the killer. They have also released an e-fit of his face. Autopsies have been undertaken, but police have not yet revealed how the girls were killed, what wounds they had, and whether any weapons were used. Speculation surrounding the case is of course rife, with some guessing that the case may be linked to the murders of Lyric Cook and Elizabeth Collins, 2 young girls who were murdered in 2012 while hiking in Evansdale, Iowa. Some have also speculated that the man who owns the land on which the girls were hiking may be involved. This man is currently serving time in jail for drunk driving charges. The theories continue, as does the investigation. On September 7, 2015, Minnesota resident Corrine McCabe received a strange and disturbing voicemail message from her husband, Henry McCabe. It was sent around 2:30 a.m. In the voicemail, growls, groans, and moans can be heard, along with a voice that appears to say, "Stop it." The message then abruptly ends. The 32-year-old man was reported missing the following day. According to some sources, he was last captured on CCTV cameras at a gas station where his friend, William Kennedy, had dropped him off. They, and perhaps some others, had been drinking together at a club in Spring Lake Park. Kennedy had allegedly taken McCabe's wallet in order to stop him from buying more alcohol. According to Kennedy, McCabe had asked to be dropped off at the gas station instead of at home. But what is particularly strange is that the gas station is in the opposite direction of where McCabe lives. His apparent motive for wanting to be dropped off there remains unknown. When Kennedy spoke to the police, he initially gave inaccurate information about where he had dropped off McCabe and inaccurate information about other key details, though as of now, his involvement in the case is not being considered as suspicious. McCabe had also called his brother that night and left a voicemail, but this audio has not been released to the public. McCabe's body was found 6 miles away from the gas station, around 8 weeks later, floating in a lake. The autopsy revealed that he had drowned, while others believe that it sounds like he was hit with a taser or a stun gun. However, no one can be sure of the truth. The case continues. Thanks for watching. Please leave a rating and subscribe to see more videos like this. Also, please remember to click the bell icon to make sure that you never miss an upload. Five mysterious unsolved cases, number 8. Relisha Rudd was just 8 years old when she was last seen in March 2014. For more than a year before her disappearance, Relisha, her mother, and her 3 younger brothers had been living in a homeless shelter in Washington, D.C., alongside hundreds of other families. 51-year-old Khalil Tatum worked at the shelter as a janitor. He had former felony convictions for breaking and entering, burglary, and larceny. Tatum had grown close to Relisha and her family over the course of their stay. Despite a policy that prohibited fraternization between the shelter staff and its residents, Relisha and Tatum spent time alone together, and Tatum gave her gifts, including a tablet. Relisha even referred to him as her goddaddy. Tatum spent time with other young girls staying at the shelter as well, but was never disciplined for this behavior. Toward the end of February 2014, Relisha's mother, Shamika Young, placed her into Tatum's care, allowing her daughter to leave the shelter and stay with him. Young was reportedly unhappy with the conditions at the shelter and may have been trying to give Relisha a better life. But once Tatum took over caring for the 8-year-old, she began to miss school at an alarming rate. When school officials spoke to Young about the absences, she told them Relisha was being cared for by the man she called Dr. Tatum. When they called Tatum, he said he was treating Relisha for neurological issues. By March 19th, Relisha had been absent from school over 30 times. When Child Services arranged to meet with Tatum, he never showed. It was at this time social workers learned that Tatum wasn't a doctor at all and contacted the police. Young told investigators that Tatum and her daughter were attending a medical conference in Atlanta and that she'd spoken to Relisha on the phone on March 17th. Young was convinced her daughter was safe and declined to file a police report, even though Tatum could not be reached on his cell phone and the D.C. apartment he had shared with his wife was empty. A missing persons investigation was launched. Security footage of Tatum and Relisha was discovered at the Holiday Inn Express in Northeast D.C. The two could be seen walking down a hallway at the hotel on February 26th. Both Tatum and Relisha look at ease in this footage. They're each carrying a shopping bag and walking at a leisurely pace, and nothing seems out of the ordinary. A passerby would likely assume they were father and daughter. Footage from March 1st showed the pair in a similar situation, walking to a hotel room at the Days Inn. This video is the last confirmed sighting of Relisha. When Tatum's wife, Andrea, was found shot to death in a Maryland hotel room, investigators ramped up their search for both he and Relisha. They learned that at the beginning of March, he had purchased large trash bags, a shovel, and quicklime. On March 31st, Tatum's body was discovered at Kenilworth Park and Aquatic Gardens. He had shot himself with the same gun that killed Andrea. There was no trace of Relisha. Child Services was criticized for waiting so long to take action regarding Relisha's absences from school. The agency had been involved with her family before, finding that the home environment Young created was unsafe, and that she had medically neglected at least one of her children. But it wasn't until Relisha vanished that Young lost custody of her kids. She was also investigated for obstruction of justice due to the statements she had made about where Relisha was, but was never charged. She rarely speaks to the media about Relisha's disappearance. In a statement to the Washington Post in 2014, Young said, "It's not my fault. I'm tired of laying my head down to get some rest, and I can't even reach out and grab my daughter." Relisha has never been seen or heard from again. Authorities believe she was likely killed by Tatum. His purchases in early March indicate he may have planned to get rid of human remains. In 2020, police searched a series of tunnels underneath the shelter, which Tatum would have had knowledge of as the janitor there. Nothing was found, and the young girl's fate is still unknown. Relisha Rudd would now be 15 years old. Belgian backpacker Theo Ayres began his solo travels in Australia in late 2018. Nearly a year later, he disappeared a week before his flight back to Belgium. 18-year-old Theo arrived in Byron Bay, a popular tourist destination, on May 29, 2019. He checked into a single room at the Wake Up Hostel in Bellenkiel. It was the final leg of his trip. He planned to spend a few days in Byron Bay before taking a bus to Sydney and flying home. On the evening of May 31st, 2019, CCTV captured Theo and a new friend he'd met at the hostel buying some alcohol at a local liquor store. The footage indicates nothing out of the ordinary in Theo's behavior. The pair went back to the hostel, and later in the evening, Theo visited a bar called Cheeky Monkeys, located about a 20-minute walk from the hostel. Around 11 p.m., he left. It's unclear whether he was overly intoxicated, but witnesses have stated he was not drunk that night. CCTV footage of Theo leaving the bar provides the last known images of him before his disappearance. As he walked away from the bar, Theo used his phone to send several messages to friends, watch a YouTube video, and use Google Maps, presumably to navigate his way back to the hostel, but he never made it there. Cell phone records indicate that Theo actually walked in the opposite direction. He kept up a quick pace, following an unusual route down dark streets and through bushland to Tallow Beach. Throughout the journey, Theo was sending and receiving messages. After sending a WhatsApp message to his stepsister shortly before 1 a.m., his phone stopped emitting a signal. Theo's family called New South Wales police, reporting they hadn't heard from him. The same day, the hostel where Theo was staying contacted the police as well. His checkout date had been 3 days earlier, but he was nowhere to be found, and his belongings were still in his room. Theo's parents, Laurent Hayes and Vinciane Delforge, flew to Australia to search for their missing son. Helicopters, divers, rock climbers, dogs, and drones were all used in the extensive hunt for Theo, but to no avail. A month later, a baseball cap was found by searchers at Tallow Beach. It resembled the one Theo was wearing when he was last seen, and his family believe it's his. The official search was called off shortly after this discovery. The final signal that could be traced from his cell phone placed Theo in the area of Cape Byron on June 1st. Authorities theorize that he may have fallen from the cliffs near the lighthouse on Byron Bay, but there's no explanation as to why he traveled away from his hostel to this remote area in the middle of the night. In 2019, the backpacker Theo was seen buying alcohol with, Antoine Von Letem, told the Daily Telegraph about the night Theo disappeared. He described their trip to the bar. We went out together after leaving the hostel, and we arrived with some other people from the hostel, and then everyone talked with other people. An hour later, he was kicked out of Cheeky Monkeys. It's not clear why Theo was asked to leave the bar. Some theories suggest he was overly intoxicated, perhaps as the result of a spiked drink,